welcome you all to the International Women's Day celebration. And I'm extremely glad that I've been given this opportunity to host the program. First, I would like to express my gratitude to our director who has enabled us to celebrate this program with utmost zeal and enthusiasm. Thank you so much, sir. Now, being a woman myself, it really feels nice to have a day, especially for us, like when we would be respected, honored, appreciated. But I also feel that women should be appreciated not only because she's a woman, because we are all women and we all have our own identity. May it be because we are working at home, some are working at home, some are working in the office, or someone is doing both. Now, with the belief that life symbolizes brightness and reduces the forces of darkness and brings in positivity, I would ask the esteemed guest and director to light the lamp. So next, I would now request our director to welcome our guest. Now I would request Professor Nair to felicitate one colleague of Dr. Anjali Bhatt. She is a Principal Technical Officer with a bouquet of flowers. Dr. Bhatt is retiring. Now I would request our Director, Dr. S. Kannan, to say a few words on this occasion.
Professor Nair, Food and Nutrition Department of the MS University in Baroda. Professor Ritu Sharma, PDPU Gandhinagar, and all my faculties, co-scientists, staff, technical staff, students, those who are physically present in this auditorium and those who are virtually seeing these celebrations through different kind of electronic media, whether it is a YouTube or MS Teams. I sincerely welcome you all on this International Women's Day celebration, which is celebrated at this institute. This whole idea of celebrating in a kind of a different style, this was conceived a year back. Okay, and in fact, when I took over as a director of this institute, it was kind of less than a month this program was supposed to be scheduled, and we were not having enough time to do things. At that particular point of time, I requested Dr. Maiti that we should be planning for this well in advance, and we should do it in a kind of a really grandiose style. And so that really a sense of celebration of the women, who are really part of the system, and kind of what do you call due recognition for the efforts that they have been doing it is diligently done. So we discussed for the last few months about this program, and I was having only one contact person in this, and that is Dr. Meghti, and she was basically managing with all of you, and it was really, good. Few things I really learned on this occasion is how team building makes a very, very important thing. Okay, these kind of events are virtually not possible had it been kind of an immense participation from all of you. Each one of you have contributed for this program, and I first of all start my opening remarks by congratulating you all and extending my happy Women's Day to all. So I'll let them get a kind of a warm round of applause, please. Girls have been doing really, really good. Okay, and that basically transcended even to the college level. Okay, even at the college level, I would say, those who are really qualifying good, and those who are really qualifying good schools, and they generally take up higher education. Undergraduates, so they are generally taking it. Okay, so if you really see the decrease in the women workforce at the education level in the college levels have also not dropped significantly. It's also not dropped significantly. Okay, from the schools, college drop is there, but it's not significant. So then college to work. Okay, that's a transition. Okay, and in that, okay, there has been a kind of a significant drop happens at that particular level. There are two kinds of drops in that particular case. One, taking the profession itself is a kind of a big drop. Okay, because of whatever the reasons. Okay, it could be financial reasons, it could be marital reasons, it could be obligatory reasons, it could be forced reasons. The reasons could be many. But if you were to basically do a kind of a broader analysis of that, and the drop is happening at that particular point of time. The drop doesn't stop there. Problem is that drop doesn't stop there. The drop gets widened at the workplace also. That's something which is really not fair at that particular point of time. Okay, because I always believe, for at least for SMT organization like us, the people who have been recruited, okay, they have all, competed on the national level, examinations, national level, recruitments, and without having any kind of a gender parity, they have been recruited. So it's not because of the gender they have been recruited. I firmly believe in that. It's because of the talents they have, the performance they have, the capabilities they have, the credentials they have, are responsible for the recruitment. Okay. So from there onwards, it's not only for the organization like that, I'm talking about in all SMT organizations. Which includes even organizations which is involving in medicine, which is involving in life sciences, which is involving in planetary sciences, which is involving in life sciences, and ours is more of a chemical sciences. Okay, so across all the disciplines, this is happening, and there is a kind of once it is joined, at that particular point of time, the career growth over there is having a kind of a challenge is basically faced by our women community. There the gap gets widened significantly, and that's why we are in fact, the percentage of the women in the positions of decisions. Okay, I'm talking about the positions of the women in the status of the women, where they can be a kind of a decision makers. Unfortunately, pretty low in our country. That's pretty low in our country. That needs to get, and this particular divide is something which is really a little worrying. So several things are being done on that. So this is something which is a kind of a thought that I thought of spreading across on this. And of course, the government has been doing phenomenal on reducing this gender parity issues. And in fact, last year when all of us were celebrating National Science Day, the tagline that was given was "Women in Science." Okay, the tagline that was given was "Women in Science." And in fact, I'm sure that most of you must have watched the President's Award ceremony which was done on the occasion of the National Science Day in I think it's in one of the laboratories or in Rashtrapati Bhavan. Okay, where President was giving the awards to all the accomplished women scientists. Okay, on that occasion, it was a very proud occasion for all the women scientists who got awards for different fields of sciences. And in fact, he announced 3 different schemes exclusively meant for women at different levels, different layers. Okay, one for for the middle career researchers to have a kind of programs which are women centric, and for the girls. Work from the schools, a program for that. Tremendous amount of efforts are being done by the government. But still, this kind of a divide needs to be camouflaged with lots and lots of efforts. And this needs to come both from the top down as well as from the bottom up. Each bottom up, I call it as from homes. And so these women who are working in the sea, they have a kind of a financial independence, which means they have the powers to dictate what my son or my daughter has to do, to whom my daughter should get engaged, and to where how my house should look. These kind of fundamental things which these people were engaging in. In fact, there is a beautiful video made by World Bank on this particular domain, which is available in YouTube. I encourage you, although we have been involved in it, there's a sad side of the story which I don't want to tell here. Okay, it's a 3 minutes video, it's worth watching it. Okay, so beautiful. It gives a kind of I get inspired. I get inspired about when the women are diving and then collecting seeds and then making their own lives. It's beautiful, and we were part of it. And the same thing is with the kind of a salt, discipline of this institute, which through Agadias, who are basically salt cultivators. And there's a tremendous amount of women empowerment. Okay, today, whatever you say about COVID, okay, this COVID was completely managed. It was implemented by the government, but completely managed by science. It's completely managed by science. Had we not made a kind of a repurposed drug, had we not made our the PPE kits, had we not put our scientists and engineers for vaccine development, had we not put our medical doctors to basically understand how the things are happening, all these things. Money doesn't basically bring in. These people, the resource people are extremely critical. The STM people are extremely critical for combating this kind of a situation. So I would always, I would encourage this particular 4 domains. I would say, SNT domain also should be thoughtfully included in this. And I strongly believe the appreciation. Okay, in fact, Dr. Mehti was mentioning in her remarks, the appreciation needs to be doubly more when people from the women community does something which is exciting. Okay, like I think one of the things that I really learned in the last few months of my directorship is I think respecting colleagues is extremely important. Okay, so I leave it with that kind of an end note. Respecting colleagues is extremely important, and at the same time, respecting women colleagues, especially with a kind of sensitivity, is a bit more important. So with this kind of end note, I sincerely thank Dr. Mehti and her team for beautifully organizing this event. The entire whatever the praise or whatever the worthiness or whatever the credits and whatever the claps, and they should go to their team. I was only a kind of an instrumental to basically tell them to do it. That's all. My job ended there, and they were very good in doing it. I sincerely thank you all for this occasion, and I once again wish you a happy Women's Day on this occasion. Thank you.
Now the next lecture. Before I invite Dr. Nair to deliver a talk, let me introduce her to all of you. Dr. Sridhima Nair is a professor of Department of Food and Nutrition, the MS University of Vadodara, and she has more than 30 years of teaching and research experience. She is proficient in training for national and international programs on health, nutrition and development. Her area of expertise include iodine, iron, thyroid deficiency control programs, promotion of maternal and child health programs, prevention of preterm deliveries, promotion of fortified food programs, double fortified salt and micronutrient premixes, advocacy and capacity building for sustenance in community health programs, and quality assurance and quality control on technical aspects of salt iodization. She is working closely with Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution and is a nodal officer for Gujarat. With this, I welcome you, ma'am, to deliver your talk.
Good afternoon. A warm welcome. Namaskar. At this onset, on this day, first and foremost, my duty is to thank Dr. Kannan and his enlarged team of people who are his great supporters, which I understood from his talk. That is a team of scientists and students, technical officers, and whoever is on this mode of mission in this institute. Thank you for inviting me here today. The second person I would like to thank is Dr. Maiti. She has been on constant talk with me for more than 2 to 3 months, constantly asking me what we will talk, what should we do. So I would ask, who are the audience, what should I be talking to them? Because for me, I am a teacher basically. I am from science background. I am a human physiology specialized person. Taught in science faculty for some time and then moved to nutrition department because I understood a lot of extension work can be done in the field for everybody, not only women, child, maternal, also adult, also whosoever it is. So Dr. Maiti, I also gathered from Dr. Kannan large appreciation to the entire team who is present here, to welcome all the students who are the future scientists. They could be scientists in science and technology, they could be scientists in economy, they could be home scientists, because I look at my mother as a home scientist. Today, whatever I am is because of my mother and because of my child. So I owe it to them, and anything that I do is for them and is for the public. I've chosen a topic known as Sustainable Development Goals, where India is looking forward to address a lot of issues which are coming in. I'm going to touch upon some of the issues, and I'm going to talk a little bit of women rights also. And we all know that various things happen in this program here. And what I want is, any queries you have, please address it back to me. I would love to answer them. And I would like to also give an opportunity to students and women scientists here to interact back with my university on this platform. So, the Agenda 2030, which you can see here, is very clearly talking to us about the adopted assembly for 2030, what should be the goal for the women. India has been a very strong proponent because we are a developing country with sustainable development goals, and been leading in the discussion, especially with issues to poverty, South-South cooperation, and climate change at global level. So these are the sustainable goals which we are talking of, that India also is going to be a major contributor. So an average woman in the labor market still earns 24% less than men globally. As of 2015 August, 22% of all national parliamentarians were females, a slow rise from 11.3 in 1995. Globally, 35% women have experienced either physical or sexual partner violence or non-partner sexual violence, either forms. There has been a lot of issues with respect to female genital mutilation. Either it is of societal or it is of cultural, depending upon each country's processes and practice. Then about land and other resources, about 143 countries have been participating in various land acts and resources, including women who are going to be the landowners in the mainstream. So we take a quick look on that, and I will also skip few slides. So India's stand against the whole gender-based discrimination has been discussed at large. We still are debating on a lot of issues in India, and the legislations, the prohibitory acts which have been started in way back in 1956 onwards, we are still making new acts and not in the true form. We do implement them, but we don't exercise them so well. We have the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Andolan which is going on. I do welcome this SPM's agenda, but how much are we putting into this is a big question yet to be answered. After that, we have this long list which comes up with so many themes which you can read through: rape, commit to rape, assaulting women, protection of children from sexual violence, children's rape. So the list is very long, and I'm not discussing these. So what happens is, with India, you can see the number of states and equality gender. You see only 2 yellow lines, nothing is in green. So economic, social, cultural rights are the rights of every woman. The same applies to all other human rights treaties. This is a very strong statement. The Women's Rights Convention, and the discrimination needs to be done. This is all well documented, especially attitudinal changes and promotion to work with men and boys right from a younger age. This has come out very well in this. And the Group 2 exercise was given to all the states and districts to rate the progress of respective districts and states in all the countries. At present, there are 26 countries participating in this. So I'm almost through my slides. So I would like to make you see 1 or 2 video clippings to encourage, though I gave you some sad part of our lives.
He runs the house. He is strongest.
I'm glad nobody in this audience or across India has very less percentage of goiter, you can see. So my contribution was to develop National Goiter Control Program in the year 2006 and implemented it. And at that point of time, we had about 54% of households using optimally ideal salt. Now we have about 94%. We started with 54 units across India. Now we have 280 units, including simple chakki owners who are under the Salt Association of India. So CSM CRI played a very major role, because I needed help to even train a simple chakki owner how to do this. And I wanted some mobile units to be developed into the field for usage for people who are not high school people even. I would like to say one of my person was class 3 passed. So I wanted them to train and to do something for the society. So CSM CRI played a very major role in developing those kits, and UNICEF India procured it and used it across as mobile testing units. And I commit all that credit to this institution. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Professor Dr. Ritu Sharma is currently engaged as Dean, School of Liberal Studies, PDPU, Gujarat, and holds a PhD in psychology. She has over 17 years of experience and is involved in a complete gamut of academic activities, teaching, research, institutional development, and training assignments. She is also certified as a stress management trainer from the International Council of Stress Management of Professionals, Australia, and is a Vice President of Indian Association of Cognitive Behavior Therapy. She brings along diverse work experience with insight into different phases and shades of human activity and behavior. With this, I welcome you, madam, for your talk. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, madam, for a very kind introduction. Honorable Director, Professor Srinivasan, my fellow speaker, Professor Nair, all the members of CSIR here who are gathered. First and foremost, I would like to wish you all a very happy Women's Day. I would also like to put on record the kind of contribution this institution has done. I was going through the website, so it's my first visit, and the kind of patents and research work which has been contributed by this institution is an immense contribution to the country, and we thank you, and we have a lot of gratitude as a citizen of the country. Further, I was listening to my fellow speakers, and very interesting keywords I thought I should derive out of the scientific as well as the day-specific relevance which we are gathered with the very purpose here today. And I think Madam said very interesting thing about how the preparation on this program has been working on as a team. And that is something which I believe is a very important aspect or attribute of the personality of women, which I would like to emphasize while I'll be discussing on the work-life balance aspect and how that serves as a support system. One more point which Professor Srinivasan mentioned about the women leadership. In fact, I would like to highlight that this year's theme of International Women's Day is Women in Leadership. And that is something very important for us, that despite of so many years, maybe century, we are still talking about gender equality, and even if it is, we are still not finding gender inclusivity. Madam has mentioned a lot of very interesting, eye-opening facts, and I would not like to burden the end of the program with a lot of stats and data. Rather, I would like to talk about those facets of life which we as individual, if we can take within as an introspection or rewire, and how that can contribute from psychological perspective, and also from a perspective of integral whole as a society. That will be my effort, and I hope in the next 15-20 minutes if I can bring that to the table. So one very important thing which was discussed a few years back, regarding this women leadership, and where across the globe, in fact, this was observed that it is generally a tendency of women that they leave before leaving. And I found that very catchy, because Cheryl said that the ratio, what goes from school to boardrooms as a decision maker, it drops as percentage. And this percentage drop, of course, there is a lot of related factor of what kind of opportunities are given to women. But there is a lot of self-esteem issue also, where women themselves do not come out and they feel somewhere that they may not be a good decision maker. And I think that's very important, because I can see a lot of young girls here. I'm sure many of them may be connected to teams also, that it is important for us to introspect that when we are looking at our role and contribution, why this comparison gets into the direction where we underestimate ourselves. And I would strongly recommend all of you to look at this book which she has written on how generally most of us leave before leaving. That is something which need to be a very important aspect of research also, which we can look into. My presentation today is going to be, as I said, on a lighter note on understanding work and life. Now, generally, a lot of research work in psychology, when we talk about balancing the two, and we put them against each other. And so the first point which I would like to mention here, that work and life are not enemies to each other. So that whole interpretation of how we will be putting them into pockets possibly is very important for us to relook, and we need to inquire that, and that again would be one important discussion which I would be placing in. Another important thing which I would like to especially convey to young girls, because of social media, maybe a lot of us are taking Women's Day celebration more like a activism kind of a thing, and I think that thought process also need to be relooked, because it's not us against you. It's rather about when I say us against you, it's about the two genders, especially here, that it is rather all about how together as a collective unit, if we can bring things to more balancing and equality as a true conceptualization. So when I say equality, yes, equality in roles because of the stats which ma'am was sharing, and since I'm the last speaker of the day, I would be referring to their talks also, so that comes out as a good fabric at the end of the day. But we need to see that yes, there is an identified role because of some ratio and some schemes which have been given to all of us, but at the same time, the mindset, the psychology, that yes, this should be included. It is not just about giving a designation or a role because this is a percentage requirement, otherwise you will not get a particular criteria fulfilled because of the way the whole framework has been developed to see that women are supported. That ideology also need to be changed. So when guests come, this is our tendency that we become very overwhelmed in terms of ensuring that Atithi Devo Bhava, and we put everybody on task. It's the same culture at home. It's the same culture when we invite guests at organization, and that's the exact thing which we also did. And this professor, who is also a collaborative research partner with me, and we have been exchanging a lot of work from maybe last 7 years. He said, "To sit down. You know what? India is an experience, and when I see Indian, I feel that you all, you all get so much involved, not just at a physical level, but mental and soul level. That is something which we carry back. But in the entire process, I don't understand where do you guys get the downtime." I said, "What is downtime?" He said, "A downtime when you will sit with yourself and understand your inner self." I'm seeing you from last 15 years. We were having a pan-India program. So we started from Gandhinagar, we went to Delhi, then Agra, then Varanasi. So by the time we were in Varanasi, we were like, "Hello, I need to talk to you about this." And I think this is something which each one of us need to think. Sincerely, we have to think. Why? Because we have a high volume or high density country with people, so many numbers, that if you don't stand in the queue, you will actually lose your opportunity. You will miss your chance even if you are qualified. And that fear, the psychological fear that if I'm not there, I will be scrapped off and all my efforts will be wasted. I think that mindset also needs to be reviewed. Because if you don't change that mindset, we will miss out on life, and that is what I wanted to put as a first slide of my presentation today, that start looking at rewiring yourself whenever you feel that, okay, all the quarters, especially if life are taken care of, work are taken care of, life are taken care of. When we say life, again, we put everything in external framework. 2020 has been certainly harsh on a lot of aspects, especially from the economy, society, health, and lot many other things. But I believe one more thing which we all could realize and become aware in 2020 was that proximity which brought family unit together, the proximity which made men and women respect each other's work, the proximity which also brought a lot of not so very pleasant things which we always had in our imagination about each other's role. Maybe what men were assuming about the role of homemaker, or homemaker was assuming as of a role of a working woman, and vice versa. So we always know that grass is greener on the other side. But when all of us were locked in our own home, which should be the most beautiful place, right? And when the realization was stepped in more deeper and deeper, possibly that was the time that this whole idea and to review the whole framework of work-life balance was given a lot of attention in psychological research. Due to paucity of time, I may not talk about them in detail, but yes, I would certainly like to mention there were a lot of case studies which came up, which in my department did, was on how some of the female, especially young girls, they requested for early entry to office and work from office instead of home, because they felt that there was an unsaid comparison happening when they were working from home versus when the male members were working from home. So here again, as I said, that I'll try to keep things very light, and it's another reflection which we all should do, and that reflection is about every now and then to see what we talk about mindfulness. So I'm sure it's not a new term. A lot of people are talking about mindfulness. Social media is full of quotes of nice thoughts, but the way it has to be practiced, that introspection, something which is connected with downtime, it becomes very important for us to be reviewed frequently. See, these ideas sometimes look very nice in a presentation or as a quote, but in a practice, they often get ignored. And the impact is huge, and the price which we pay is very heavy, because we actually lose a lot of time by the time we realize about the relevance and significance of the Oh Butterfly, so unsuspecting of what is around, not caring about the people it's around. Oh Butterfly, fly far, far, far away from here. This place is not the way it appears. And oh Butterfly, take me with you. I want to drink the first drop of dew. But oh Butterfly, I won't be able to make the flight, for my hands are tied. And I really don't understand, as a person from psychology also, why this was written by her. Oh Butterfly, you fly far, far away and remember me and say, I once met a girl who wanted to fly with me far, far away. She wanted to bloom with the flowers and sing with the spring and shine with the moon so bright, but could not, for her hands were tied. From mother to daughter, or maybe from other family members to this new generation, which may not be experiencing a similar kind of concerns. But yes, it gets rubbed off. And that was my reason to share it with all of you, because consciously, unconsciously, we are continuously sharing an idea with the younger generation, which possibly no more is experiencing, but is still exposed to that thought. Okay, well, quickly now, this is something which I believe most of us are aware, but that's a fundamental way. In psychology, we talk about work-life balance, and we say there are two important components to it. One is the time management, and how we handle the time in terms of especially the to-do task lists, or our procrastination behavior, or our time management personality. So a lot of profiling can be done at that aspect, and I think that really helps you understand your orientation for work-life balance, and it is honestly not same for everyone. And second is mind management, something which I was talking in relevance to downtime. You know, how you occupy your mind with the thought process. Please understand, with the social media, with most of us having a touch screen kind of a framework where you simply do this and that, and you're with the world. So that's all from me. I always believe, this is what my professor used to say, that see, life is a self-made journey, right? And what we gather at the end of the day is what we decide. It's a fabric, we weave it, right? And it is not something that if we started making it wrong, it will end up being a disaster. We can do correction at any point of time, and that is what the discipline of psychology or sociology or anthropology put together. They try to place it to both scientific and non-scientific community. And I think if we all start looking at it, we will be happy at the end of the day. So thank you so much for inviting me today and allowing me to share my thoughts, what my discipline contributes to the society, and how women in general need to be even more aware of it because of the fact that their mind is wired in a multitasking model, right? So we tend to worry more than the other genders. We tend to think more than other gender. We are designed like that. So it becomes even more important for us to start thinking, and then we get those tags, oh, you think so much. This is not such a huge issue for which you have to ponder so much, right? So this is our design, and we have to respect our design. And respecting that design, if we start taking more awareness on it, I'm sure we will be able to contribute more to ourselves as well as to society. On this note, I again wish everyone happy Women's Day, and thank you very much.
Such an extraordinary, enlightening presentation. And now may I request our director to hand over a small token of appreciation to ma'am, Ritu ma'am.
Very complex topic.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
difficult topic.
नमस्कार। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय महिला दिवस के अवसर पर आयोजित कार्यक्रम पर आभार व्यक्त करना मेरा सौभाग्य है। आयोजन समिति की ओर से पहले मैं इस कार्यक्रम के दोनों मुख्य अतिथियों प्रोफेसर रितु शर्मा जी और प्रोफेसर सिरिमाओ नायर जी का धन्यवाद देती हूँ और हृदय से उसका आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, जिन्होंने अपनी उपस्थिति एवं व्याख्यान से इस कार्यक्रम की शोभा बढ़ाई। थैंक यू मिस्टर प्रोफेसर नायर जी एंड थैंक यू प्रोफेसर। इसी क्रम में मैं इस कार्यक्रम के सूत्रधार हमारे निर्देशक महोदय डॉक्टर कनन जी को धन्यवाद देती हूँ, जिनके कुशल मार्गदर्शन से यह कार्यक्रम सुचारू रूप से संपन्न हुआ। उसका हर एक जो बोलते हैं वो अपने लेक्चर में कि मैं खाली इंस्ट्रूमेंट पर हूँ, लेकिन उसका बहुत बड़ा ग्रेट मीनिंग है सर। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन स्टोर परचेज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन या तो फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट का भी आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, क्योंकि उन सबने इस कार्यक्रम को प्रत्यक्ष और परोक्ष रूप से अपना सहयोग दिया है। डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट उसका उन लोगों का कंट्रीब्यूशन अपना योगदान दिया और ये कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन दिया। अंत में आप सभी को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय महिला दिवस की शुभकामनाएं देती हूँ और एक कार्यक्रम को समाप्त करने के लिए मैं
Do not live somebody else's idea or life of what womanhood is. Womanhood is you, and womanhood is only and only you. Thank you. Happy Women's Day to all, and tea served outside.
You might be able with more than 15 minutes. After the
But I knew she would not look at me easily, so I saw her WhatsApp pictures. I told her I've seen you.
After that, I said, now I can extend my time for